Hello and welcome to episode 7 of my EUROPA playthrough of Stationeers on Stationeer difficulty, 200-minute day-night cycle via console hack. I'm a hacker. Between episodes I did something which I normally don't do during this playthrough. I checked out these solar panels and I moved one of them with my wrench. And the maximum efficiency that I could achieve was 80%, which is the efficiency that they have. So I may just have gotten the source code completely right, and it's just that they no longer show 100%, or maybe the ceiling shadow is doing, I don't know. Anyway, the sun is out now, it's basically morning. I mean, it's not morning really, but morning for Jupiter. No? For Europa. Sun, morning, noon. So for me it's morning. And the goal is now to go mining, as boring as that may seem. Because I have to go mining. Need silicon. So, looking good. Power should all be fresh everywhere. Hey, that stupid thing with the mining drill again, huh? Filters are good. I have the empty mining backpacks. Yeah, could eat and drink some. What? Oh. This is soon no longer viable. Anyway, let's go. If you want me to show you the station as it is right now, I did that at the beginning of the previous episode, and the only difference is, well, there is a difference. We have here the solar panel room. It's not yet complete. I need glass and stuff, for which I need plastic, which I don't have, so I need silicon. And here we have a room that will become the battery room. The airlocks are not yet done, but are very far along already. So let's go mining. This is not the direction I want to go, because that's where the map ends. Checking the tracker. Home sweet home. Which is here, my lambda, I renamed it. Yeah, I want to keep track of what's possible when it comes to deep mining. Oh, that's exactly the stuff I need. It's right in front of me. Okay. So, since and including the previous episode, which was number 6, I have been using the new microphone, which arrived yesterday from Amazon, $22, so really cheap. And then I spent a couple of hours mixing it and putting all the effects on it that I need, you know, through 2 or 3 layers of equalizers, which I could probably compound to only 1, but I don't dare, it's too fresh. I took all the screenshots, I made an offsite backup of the screenshots that I took of all the effects that I made, because I'm paranoid about this, and also I'm realistic the amount of work that went into this and the frustration that it would mean if that would no longer be there. I mean, having to go through all those perception cycles, test recordings, switching stuff on and off and so forth, unbearable. So yeah. So while I'm out mining, I thought I should talk about some stuff. I don't know what exactly yet. So I will just jump to the go-to topic, which is interestingly anyway the omni topic from which any and all topics could be reached, the coexistence. Which is basically saying, yeah, life, things, you know, but except it's not just life, as in we're crawling around on this planet and you get up in the morning and there's a job or not or whatever, because that is too unfocused. It doesn't focus on a direction. It just says, it's basically like talking about the universe, and then you're asking, okay, what do you want to talk about first? But if we have a direction, So what direction could that be when I say coexistence instead of just life? Because coexistence implies that this thing should work. What do I mean by that? I mean the people existing together in one society. Or a person growing up in the coexistence and trying to cope, trying to live up to society, or possibly trying to supersede it, to advance further, because I mean that's what people have been doing throughout all of history. That's why we are where we are right now. Which brings me to this thought of, didn't your parents tell you blah blah blah? And there's a positive side, the positive way to phrase it. I'm not sure how to say that. In German we would say du bist aber gut erzogen, oder deine Eltern haben dich aber gut erzogen, oder im Englischen, in English we might say, I don't know how to phrase it, well, your parents educated you well, something like that. And the point I'm trying to make is that is a ridiculous take, because that would imply that good behavior, that someone's intellectual digestion of situation and then adapting to it, is just something that is taught. But this means that your parents were also stupid, and their parents, and the parents before that, and all of it is somehow genetic or whatever. Someone had to come up with that, and therefore, why were you not the one who came up with this? And you probably were. So, and I don't like that. People don't even appreciate the possibility. Then again, it's not really people appreciating or disappreciating a possibility. It's just people, you know, using standard phrases, flapping their gums, trying to express something. Maybe the meaning is all good and positive and who knows what it is, but usually the meanings that people are transporting with their actual words is not the meaning they mean to transport. Doesn't mean that it is not received as the correct meaning, but you know, I would prefer for people to be a bit more precise with their words. Particularly in the global context that we're in. So the X value is increasing, that's good, because we are relatively close to the edge already. Because, I mean, I have observed very clearly many times that that when people are talking locally, like, I don't know, the family at the kitchen table, stuff like that, or maybe some, yeah, what is this? Or maybe some pupils at school, some students, you know. Well, this is the landing capsule, which I accidentally accelerated so high in the air that it fell over the edge and down the mountain, and this is an evacuated box where I want to keep it safe from the storm. A storm that may actually come. I didn't even consider that, but I don't think the warning thing was kicking in. We would have heard that because the speaker is programmed. Anyway, I only want full stacks in there. Anyway, that when people are talking in these kind of in these situations, they're actually benefiting, and that's not bad necessarily, but they're also sleeping mindlessly in the bed of mutual context, where people have the same context, so you know what they're talking about. But when you're talking on the internet, or you're reading someone else on the internet, then you're dealing with the omni-context. You're dealing with a situation where you don't know where the other person is coming from. And that's how you have to be able to read it, so we need some tolerance. If someone says something stupid, maybe it's not actually stupid, but you were just misreading it. Or maybe they were just not using the correct words, however, the context where they're coming from, people would just express that like that. Mindlessly, heedlessly, and that's something that shouldn't happen, but, well, it's what people do, and it's not malicious, it's just a bit, you know, reckless. And on the other hand, when you speak, that you have to be aware that they don't know where you're coming from, and so you have to give them the context. And I mean, something that I do at work, for example, when I step up to my boss and say, hey, this and this thing is going on, I just heard from this vendor of ours, blah 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 blah, then I would just toss some tags basically at him. I would walk up to him and just say 3 or 4 keywords that will zoom his mind into the right location of the cosmos, or to the right continent or city or state or whatever on the map of Earth, as both of this being metaphors for you know, giving the context, and then I start blathering about what the actual topic is. And that works, why shouldn't it? And why should you then not do it like that? It's effective, it's desired, because the people that you're talking to, I mean in this context at least, they can be expected to have the will to understand you. Therefore, if you take these measures, which are very time efficient, they are also very effective in achieving the goal, to achieve this presumed mutual intent, what's wrong about that? Oh, someone will see that and will think that you're stupid or weird. Well, fuck them. If they are standing, and that's how you have to think about that, for lowering the standards instead of when they are standing they're standing in the way of you elevating the standards, then guess what? They are the problem, not the solution. That reminds me then, when I'm at in the company restroom and I'm about to what I do is I wash my hands, and we have paper towels, and then when I have these paper towels and they are now wet from my now clean hands, what I do is I do not toss them away. Instead, I now wipe the door handle of the stall from the inside and not the outside, and including the what's the name? The thing with which you lock the door from the inside, that you turn, you know, that thing, and also the door handle of the main entrance and exit door, because that is certainly not the cleanest thing. And after I have done that, they will be clean for my now washed hands. And how am I doing this? I'm doing that with paper that is moist. Oh, I said the word moist. I don't know what the problem is that people supposedly have with that, moist. The paper towels are clean, or at least they are certainly cleaner. I mean, I just washed my hands, all right? Then the door handle is. Now, if I kind of always have this thought in my head that if someone is there seeing me do that, what do they think? Do they later maybe talk about me being weird or something? I mean, I don't fear it. It just spooks around in my head, and I can't avoid it. But I know that it is wrong, and that is one of those moments where I think the Satan that is kind of still ruling the world is creeping up into everybody's heads, trying to convince them that the thing that they're doing that would lead to an elevation of the mutual standard that we have is wrong and they shouldn't do it. But no, that you should do. Why should you not do that? It improves the situation, and it recycles something that is already garbage. And it does that in a reasonable way. I mean, the paper towels, again, they're clean and they're moist. So why not do that? But that's just an example of doing that which is right, even if someone... I mean, how did I get to this topic? The other thing was like walking up to someone and then just first clicking basically some tags in their search engine so that their filter of context in their head is already reducing all the potential context down to a short list, and then you start talking about the actual thing you wanted to talk about, and then they can easily zoom into that one entry and add the information that you're giving them to their database. I know this sounds very technical, but it's a good way to express that. Therefore, that is how I express that. Do you see a problem with that? Well, then I must say, see above. So why is talking about the coexistence, when I phrase it like that, coexistence, why is that different from saying I'm just talking about life and shit? Because life and shit is just random stuff, like I already expressed. What could that then be? Which topic? Or which direction would you go? But when... Is this even recording? Hello! Yep, 14 minutes. Oh, nickel, nice. But when I say, let's talk about the coexistence, then I'm implying that there's some certain functionality in there. The functionality of the people as metaphorically cogs in a machine turning in a way that is compatible instead of against each other. Which begs the question, what is right and what is wrong? I think it is very important to realize that it is safe, it is good, and is reasonable and rational to assume, that no one knows truly right and wrong. I mean, we can be certain in regards to some certain things like rape and so forth, that is wrong. I mean, that's not the questions that we ask ourselves when we are pondering the concept of right and wrong. When we ask ourselves what is right and wrong, I mean, if we would do that, then we would actually be asking the question of what is important and what is unimportant. Because certainly when it comes to deciding an action, whether to do or not do it, or how to judge someone else's actions or inactions, then we must prioritize. For example, when we say, okay, that person actually with a few friends broke into that apartment and then actually abducted the person therein, and well, the person's now locked up, and the person might actually not get out, except if we pay the ransom. And the truth is, no, those were the cops, and the person was arrested, and we're talking about bail here that is to be paid, or maybe not to be paid. See the way you phrase it? I mean, I know I was intentionally misleading, but I'm saying context. Prioritization. Is it right to take someone's freedom away? No. Though sometimes it is. But it is only right to take someone else's freedom away when there is some higher level importance thing that needs to be served. It's a hierarchy thing. Should I get some copper? Yeah. I think it's important and would also be helpful if that were actually written in the beginning of law books where all the laws of the land are recorded, if they would actually say these rules are an attempt at implementing the optimal coexistence which so far we assumed or could kind of agree upon. I don't know, not exactly phrased like this, I'm trying to stick some sentences in a box. Could have assumed is the golden rule, like don't do to others what you don't want them to do to you, and so forth. And these laws are an attempt to implement that very abstract concept into a very concrete form so that it is practical in everyday life, in all the situations that we find ourselves in as citizens of a nation. And that's what these laws are. But that might sometimes be forgotten. And it's good to zoom out, to climb up in the hierarchy of prioritization, to abstract, to look from above, to not get lost in the forest or the trees, but to understand what is the purpose of this, and then from that perspective also to evaluate it, to call it into question, because not all laws are right, and so forth. Case in point, laws change, so as if that needed any evidence. But what is the golden rule? Don't do to others what you don't want them to do to you? Well, of course you cannot use your personal taste. Like you are into certain things and someone does those things to you, doesn't mean other people are into those things, and then Shazam, they did the right thing. The other person didn't like that, well, it's their problem. I would like that and their problem. No, we have to be abstract. But what does that mean? That means ultimately mankind has kind of agreed upon to have to try to find out what the very abstract is of I and you and personhood and consciousness and living will. Let's say it in a bit less abstract form, because maybe I'm losing you here. I mean, if we want to live together correctly, which in general we want to do. I mean, often people might not be confronted with that very problem because there are certain rules in a certain situation that you're following, and good. That's it, you know. Maybe in traffic, how you drive your car. Maybe in a crowd, or in the theater, or at work or whatever, how you behave among your peers. That is kind of maybe agreed upon, and you don't really call it into question except in some micro moments, but that's just navigation. That's not fundamental calling into question. That's not what that is. Do I need some coal? I don't have that much space. Should try to get more silicon. I mean, I have some good amount, but more is better. Yeah, but how did those rules come about? And are those rules, or is that flow that you find yourself embedded in, be it family or be it friends or be it some social gathering or at work and so forth, how did the way in which this flows come about, and is the way in which this flows correct? I mean, let's take for example some I don't know, Nazi Germany for example, someone born into that situation, or I mean maybe 5, 6, 7 years old, and then beginning to basically awaken as to how to behave in society, and well, then if they would then just adopt the flow around them, they might well, is that the right thing? Is that maybe it's right for their personal survival, but ultimately, if Nazi Germany would not have been beaten by the outside, then that would have been perpetuated, I guess. And the only one to bring that down would be the society that lives there. And well, to adjust those things for something better, you need to be able to call it into question. What does call into question mean? That means that you look at the thing in light of what? In light of right and wrong. But we don't know right and wrong. We kind of, we are, what's the word? Approaching? Narrowing in? Yeah, we're kind of, we are calculating that problem in iterations. We're getting closer and closer to an answer, and we have implemented some steps on the way which we could consider already answer level. But what is the fundamental underlying concept? The underlying concept, I guess, still is just the golden rule. Don't do to others. Why? Because, I mean, the ultimate right and wrong is about what you want. I mean, do you want to experience pain? No. Implicitly you don't. I mean, that's kind of the definition of pain, but you know, some people are into it to some degree at least, but still it doesn't mean that you can approach them and inflict pain upon them willy-nilly, even if that's the particular kind of pain, whenever you want to. It's like, I mean, you like sex, I assume, but does that mean that anyone can just walk up to you and grab you by the pussy or whatever? No. You're not in the mood, you don't want right now, etc. In other words, it's about the compatibility with your will, with your emotion flow. And of course, your immediate emotion flow cannot so much be known by others. They can kind of guesstimate that depending on situation or depending on how you express yourself, but in principle it is an unknown. And if you assume that you know, then maybe the other person goes with it, whatever it is, whatever kind of coexistence flavor you have just chosen in that moment, because they detect that is the best way to deal with that, instead of saying, well, that was wrong and so forth. They don't want to cause sparks, or maybe you are you manifesting whatever situation there is, maybe hitting them on the shoulder, hey, how do you feel? And they're like, hey, yeah, cool, and then you high five them like an idiot or something. I mean, I don't like people to touch me, or to shake my hand, or to hit me on the shoulder. I don't like that. How are people supposed to know? Well, I could tell them, and I do, and then there are people whom I have told that, and they are still doing that, and they are violating my bodily autonomy despite my express will that they shall not. And that is the end of the story. That is all there is. My body is holy, like your body is holy. It is the only and most valuable thing that you can ever possess. It is the only thing that no one shall ever call into question. Is absolutely fucking yours. No means no.
Hydration critical.
But where was I? Coexistence, right and wrong, golden rule. Yeah, emotion. Ultimately, you cannot know someone else's will in a particular moment, and you cannot know whether you're currently overrunning them with your, I don't know, with the energy that you bring with you. For example, what, people shake each other's hands. What are you doing? Now, this kind of attitude is what I have also met. Of course, I'm not a child anymore. I've met all kinds of shit. And that is basically when someone then does that, they're not just an individual shaking your hand. They are in that moment also basically using the many-headed demon of mankind instead of individual awake and aware wills and consciousnesses and identities, just some many-headed demon that is just using its collective energy of stupid, like for example religious communities like Christianity or Islam and so forth, are mostly using their their groupthink. And therefore the word, I mean, many people will agree that the word think in that moment really doesn't apply. So this example can then be used to leapfrog towards the topic I was actually talking about, instead of using the very specific example of religion. So you cannot know what the right or wrong action would be in a particular situation, or often enough you can't know, and you should try to be aware when you can and can't know that. And when you can't know that, you must not manifest, because you know when you manifest, when you walk to a place, when you do an action and all of that, that creates objective reality. That is what that does. Are you not aware of how profound that is? I mean, if you find your car stolen, that is a manifested physical reality. If you find your face in the dirt because someone punched you and now you're lying there, that is manifested physical reality. And if, well, just, you know, if you approach someone and then they want to step to the side, but you also want to step to the side and you chose the same side, and now you're like, wait, what? Something that is usually quickly resolved. But I mean, ultimately, that brings me also to the topic of law of large numbers and the concept of luck, basically, and so forth and so forth, which many of you will also disagree with, but okay, I cannot walk you through all the things. So in that moment, one person has chosen a manifestation. The other person is now confronted with that manifestation. Yes, it's a very harmless one, this example, but still is a manifestation. So even though it's a very harmless thing, and it's fine, I mean, that's fair game, that's just how we live together, and it's entertaining even when that happens, right? It's the little quirks of reality, of the universe, of being not alone in all of existence, of not being existence alone, of not being the existence as a person, but of being together. I need to go back, I believe. 500 meters, yep, I do. So, deep minor regions? Southwest Highlands, Silicon. That's good. Screenshot. I do not have anything to drink with me. I only have that and the pill. So if something bad happens here, I can fix the suit, and if that has damaged my lungs, I can heal those lungs. That's all. Yeah, I'd rather walk straight back. All this alluring stuff that I could dig up. I don't want to fall face down in the dirt here. Anyway, that's a manifested situation. When every little action that you take, every word that you speak, every word that I speak, the way I pronounce it, or rather which emotion I put into it, or whatever, you know, all of that has its effect. It's small manifested stuff, but ultimately it's manifested. It's like when you find a tree and oh, it doesn't have apples on it, or someone took those already, or it still has an apple and you happen to be hungry, so you eat them. Manifested, confronted. So any little decision that a person makes when they're, for example, interpreting someone else's attitude, intention, will, and so forth, someone else's emotional situation and flavor, when they do that, then they are causing something that we would call truth. Now, how that truth of you being in a place, of you speaking those words, of you setting the light into vibrations that can be interpreted as meaningful words and sounds, and so forth, the interpretation of that's the trick. It's just like with when you feel your leg itching, or when you look at the sky with your radio telescope. All of that is data. The trick is with the interpretation, but data it is, all of it. The problem that we have as a species, as a people on this planet, is that so much of the world that we live in, this sphere, so to speak, that we live in, the social level and the economy and going to work and all that stuff, is so very man-made or human-made, whatever, that there is often that the interpretation that we collectively choose is pretty much removed from the truth of it.
Hunger,
I'm saying that mankind is insane. Yeah. Hello? Dude. So all the things that we manifest here as actors, as agents, must be an expression of truth, or else we help pollute this already insane, foggy jungle in which mankind finds itself. I mean, what's right or wrong emotionally, collectively in Germany, for example, is much different from what's right and wrong emotionally, for example, in Iran, or in North Korea, or in probably also the United States of America. But does it mean it's objectively wrong, or does it mean it's just the current going flavor? Now this in turn of course has consequences. It makes it kind of objectively wrong because, well, if you don't behave accordingly, this will have negative consequences, and this is certainly, indubitably, definitely the case, therefore blah blah blah. But I mean, when you think for example about a deeply religious society like, I don't know, Iran and so forth, deeply Muslim societies, where they basically make the quality of your survival, or the fact of whether you survive in the first place, dependent on how much you submit to believing, or whether you refuse it. I mean, in this moment, they are also using that same mechanism. They are basically telling you, this is the truth, for the consequences will be manifest. But in this moment, they're just abusing, basically, evolution, so to speak. The thing that keeps killing us until we have learned how to go with the flow instead of being incompatible with it. Well, first I need some plastic. How are we looking? Not too good.
Anti-critical.
But I mean, I think you have understood what I'm generally saying there, despite all this word salad woven into it. But I guess the ultimate question that you may or may not be consciously asking yourself, maybe you're just kind of mentally buried in the energy of unconsciousness, of the collective unconsciousness, to realize that you being annoyed by me rambling about all this stuff is maybe not really truly because why would you talk about this? Play Stationeers, shut up, or whatever. But in truth, because the realizations that are effectively in there have consequences. How you should and shouldn't behave, what you should and shouldn't do, or why, that's even the more important part, why you should and shouldn't do certain things. And all of that comes with emotional burden. You don't want that emotional burden, but I tell you, if that emotional burden would be welcomed by you, it would not feel like one. And if you actually, don't want to hear about it, don't want to go with it, then maybe you're misconfigured. Maybe you're too asleep, and maybe you're part of the problem. Didn't say disfigured, I said misconfigured. Oh. So, I mean, we could basically say that all of coexistence that we have here, where we are going to work so that we have the money, or where we are actually doing the ultimate work, which is farming, for example, because all that you eat is from fishing or from farming, there's nothing else that you ever consume. It is so very important. What did I want to say? See? This turns on simultaneously. And it would spit out everything when I shut it off. What do we need first? Glass? Let's just waste it all on glass. Your glass is ass. Your ass is glass. No. Yeah, well, all of these things that we do for living, and we are ultimately doing for living together. I mean, if you're not actually alone on an island and just living with nature and by fishing or whatever, ultimately we are part of a system. Even if we can, thanks to money and thanks to online stuff and so forth, just not personally participate in that stuff, we are still really a part of it. And I mean, you agree, right? Basically, we are herd animals, and so we, but doesn't this mean that if ultimately these decisions are derived from us not wanting to die, not wanting to suffer, not wanting to be in poverty, slash that when we are deciding, when we are making decisions that affect others, when we're doing that according to a certain rule set and so forth, in both cases, the goal is that people don't get hurt, be it yourself or be it someone else. And that does mean that the entire algorithm of all the things any human being ever does in society or alone on this planet is with the goal of love. That is what that is. Maybe you want to think about that. What prefix solution did I choose here? O2 session. Yeah, let's go with that. Arc furnace console. Arc furnace memory. Arc furnace slide. I'm pretty sure I don't have any lines of code left. What? Okay, maybe that was just me. Yeah, that was probably me. When I was lying this blue cable here in some kind of hectic moment near the end of the previous episode. Yeah. That's why that thing is in the middle of the room. I was wondering, who did this? How did this happen? Was there a windstorm here or something? Okay, let's see. Station 0 Station 0 control import. Edit. And I think it's pretty full already. Yep, these are all the lines I have left, except for some empty ones in between. Oh, there's a lot of stuff here actually. And I can just remove these because I can derive from what's written here, grow light counter. It's also why it's a good thing to start all these logic blocks with something that you either comment on, of course, yeah, that's a possibility, or with something, a grow light counter. Okay, so that's about the grow light. What is this? Okay, this is not very speaking, but here. The weather LED display, or the printers, or the greenhouse gas sensor. And yeah, I wanted to actually have automatic cooling here. And I realized that the other things that I want to do, they no longer have space. I need another chip. So it can no longer be station 0 control. I need 2 of these. This one is for the solar panels. It appears to actually be working correctly. Hey, so has a battery charged? Can we see that from here? Not quite, but quasi. This one is for the for deep mining, and the reason that it's green is that this is the first one I made, and if you have observed the logic connectors, they are green. So I thought, yeah, this is the logic cable, because this is certainly not connected to the power cables over there. Though it could be, I think that would actually be harmless. And this one, oh, it's station 0 control, and I would need another one here because I don't have enough code lines to do the thing. No, but isn't that an interesting insight? To say that all that we basically do, all that you do, all that others do, all the rules that we follow and so forth, why do we do that? We do that because we don't want to suffer. Or once the suffering is kind of off the table, just like when you're no longer too poor to finance some apartment or living space and food and a shower and so forth, but when that has become kind of normal, then everything beyond that, I wouldn't call it luxury, but it goes in that general direction. And in this way, when we're trying to escape suffering and have done so, what do we do with that same mechanism henceforth? We are striving for happiness. That's what we're doing. It's that same axis, it's that same logic. It's even that same thing, basically, just in a slightly different context. $79. Oh, $99! Oh, then it was the shadows. Oh. Let me just, Can I see the angles here? Because I actually made a bug post about this. Well, let me just then delete the fucking bug post, because apparently you can reach 100%. Delete. And it's gone. Oh, I only connected one of these because I didn't have enough cable with me. Oh, that's sad. Let me just try to get some cables then. And if I don't have any, then it's time to print them. That was stupid, but I was kind of in a hectic situation near the end of the previous episode where the sun was about to come out, which it now did, and where I would have to go mining for plastic, which I now did. So multiple things came together, and so I was out of sorts. So if all we do is really just to strive for happiness, for our own and for at least the non-negative, for the non-unhappiness of others, I mean, if everybody does not contribute to the world, but at least makes sure as best as they can to not take away from it, I think we're already complete.
Power critical.
Should have brought a cable analyzer, huh? I wanted to connect it here. No, don't! But I mean, really, I mean, if basically all we're doing ultimately serves the goal of the coexistence at its core is don't cause any harm to anyone if you can avoid it, or if it's undeserved, you know, that kind of stuff. Basically, don't cause it unless it ought to be caused. See, for example, what I said about the police taking someone into custody in their own apartment, you know, breaking in, taking them with, blah, blah, blah. Ah, shit. Oh, there's no logic connection here yet. Do I have the cables for that? Yeah, I think so. So if that is really the only goal, ultimately, and the only parameter, why are we in general so fucking bad at it? Because maybe we don't like to face the truth of our guilt and imperfection. Therefore, we don't lean back and think about it. Or maybe it's just that we're too occupied with instant gratification stuff that, why would you think about something when instead you could, I don't know, watch something on your smartphone? Which I also do, but obviously I have already spent some time thinking. So I'm excused. $0, nothing's coming here. 99%. Oh, well, I accidentally got the right code, man. I think. I'm not obstructing it. Weird. Oh.
Temperature low.
So need to print heavy cables and definitely close up that room, because at some point this guy is going to show yellow and the solar panel should not be exposed, and at that point I should also have already emptied the atmosphere. Because for whatever stupid reason, if a box, even if it's a room, has the same atmosphere or almost the same atmosphere as the planet out there, the storm will also take place inside, and I think it may might also actually damage stuff. Which I found ridiculous. I mean, how hard can it be to check, is this box part of a room, yes or no? But, I mean, I didn't develop this game, so I cannot tell. Do I know their code? I do not. And if everybody would sit back and think, how can I make the world a better place? They would realize, well, the first step should be, stop making it a worse place. And that is already basically the task for a lifetime. But is anyone really leaning into that? Yeah, I guess so. Are we doing it enough? No. No. Everybody knows the answer to that question to be a very clear and loud and resounding no that no one needs to even hear, because everybody knows it. Damn, gotta get rid of some reminder here. Yeah, it tells me, we have 110 euros, spend them. Yeah, some credit card bonus kind of thing. That's why I got this thing. And once I have used it, maybe I will keep it, maybe I won't. Time will tell. I don't care. Hey Google, turn on the fan. I could actually have just turned that off, that would have been enough. What I want now is heavy cables. How many can we make? I think the amount is just right. Yeah. Let's seal up that room. Oh.
Pressure critical. Oxygen low. Oxygen critical.
Yeah, I wish the game had some visualization when you're suddenly in a vacuum or suddenly super cold, that the screen gets distorted or whatever, stuff like that. That should happen. Because I want to experience this, man. I don't want to hear computer voice, even when I'm not wearing the suit. What is that? Is that an implant? Telling me, you are currently in the process of suffocating. Do something about it. That's not how it goes down in reality. And I know we cannot be made to experience how it goes down in reality, but do you not agree that there are better ways to express in the narrow channel that we have available, audio and video, that such a thing is occurring? Yes, you do, because we have seen it. We have seen it many times for decades. Why is that not yet in this game after 10 years of development? When the first thing that they've started, when they developed here was survival. Like, it's kind of like they lost focus or lost perspective of what this is. Like mankind has lost focus, has lost perspective. Like you probably have lost focus and perspective of what this is. You are here to make sure that this gearbox of our coexistence runs unimpeded by you. And ideally, is even greased a little bit by you. That's why you're here. So what did I just say? I just said your purpose here is to do whatever the fuck you want, as long as it's not negative towards the world. And that is the truth, isn't it? The purpose of your life is the purpose that you give it. But that is true for everybody. So let them give their life their own purpose. The trick, of course, is to find out what does it really mean. This is me, this is my radius, you will not step within. You will not touch the shoulder, I told you no. And that is what mankind has been doing from the start, since the dawn of man, basically, or human, whatever. Alright. Wait, did I accidentally close up everything? Just now? Was it just complete? No, I have to check this. Plop. So whenever I see Jupiter, I have to take myself back, you know? One kadam less in the name of this god, or whatever. Yeah, everything's closed up. So we could now pump the room empty, basically. Yeah. So when the storm comes, there will not be any storm effects inside. I even have the power to do that, because... should I run the airlock from this guy? That would be a constant power drain, but we also have a electricity factory here, so what's the problem? I want to know one thing. Is this guy still producing? What does it produce? 200 watts. And it's at 90% efficiency. So 250... I didn't read it. Stupidly didn't record that earlier when I was talking about the same topic. 200 watts. That's actually what I guesstimated they would produce. 200 watts. In the previous episode, I was just, okay, how many do I need? How big shall this room be? Let's assume 200 watts. I think that was 200 watts that I assumed. Not bad. And I'm constantly smashing this into my face. Ouch. Ouch. Stop hitting yourself, mankind. Live like you actually want to live, you stupid idiot, mankind. All that suffering that you have there, mankind, is your choice. You choose it. Now you might say, well, in the case of cancer and so forth, that's not so much so fuck you. Yeah, okay. And I will not insist that this is actually also just arbitrary, which I do hold, but that goes into the direction of my theism, and we don't have to go there. It's not productive. What I said so far, productive, logical, true, and so forth, and I don't want to spoil that shit. Oh. Right, so that room exists now. There is an airlock, but it is not yet complete. I have basically everything in that airlock, not yet installed, but it's there. So I could now actually turn that hall into a proper room. And I could also abuse the mechanisms therein to pump the room empty. What am I doing inside? But, well, let's make sure... Well, demonstration? Haha. Oh, it's turned off and it has also spat the content out. I need some simple cables, please. And the heavy ones too. Yeah, with stacker it's just much more nice. Is something still burning here? Yeah. So copper is still in the queue. Nice. Anything of note? Nope. Let's go. Let's make an airlock. Ah, nice moment. The shadow. Screenshot. Oh, how is the ingot factory doing? In this silo we have... Oh, 0. 0 isn't much. Wait. Oh. What is happening? What? Oh. Oh, come on, Rocketworks. What is this? This guy is expressing that it is powered, when it is not. Now I do not have a fuse on me, and there was a 1,000 watt fuse. Huh. Why did it consume more than 1,000 watts? They're very simple. It has 700 watts for the deep miner and the 2 centrifuges, and then it is smelting stuff every once in a while. And that can peak over 300 watts. So yeah, that's over 1,000. Oh, whoops. Actually, for this I have some special light here and I want to use it because I would like to... I wouldn't call it role play, but let's just say that Rocketworks is, let's say, maybe too busy to implement all the things in the simulation that should be implemented in it. So, I mean, okay, this example is one where what could they do? But there are other fronts. For example, when it comes to reaching through the window and taking stuff. I think in this entire playthrough I have basically not done that. And yeah, and I shouldn't be the one who has to roleplay it like this. That should be the reality that I find myself in. Okay, let's see. Are these walls closed? Because I think some of them are not. Oh. Did I not take the glass with me? What is happening? Okay, everything is happening. Why do I not have the glass with me? I made glass, 50 glass, where are those? Let's bring a fresh battery. So, mankind's goal, I mean, that's not really how people see it, but I think, I mean, I don't know, I mean, I'm rambling about this stuff often. that doesn't mean that anyone agrees or disagrees, and if 3.5 people maybe say that they agree, okay, what am I saying? What I'm assuming is that the majority of you ultimately agree with the concept presented. That mankind is trying to figure out the optimal coexistence for the goal of minimizing suffering / maximizing happiness. And that this is also what every individual is doing. And also that despite that being the goal of the individual and of mankind, both of them both of these sets, the set of you and the set of mankind, not actually pursuing it properly or directly enough, head-on enough. Should I print these or should I print heavy ones? Let's make heavy ones. They take longer. How much gold is in there? Not enough. Well, and I'm zooming out here. I'm showing the forest from above. And I need the glass, wherever the fuck that would be. Probably over here somewhere. Where did I put the glass, man? Yeah, you can tell I'm desperate. What can it be? And now I had a stack of 25 glass. And then I got another stack of 25 glass. And I put them on top of it. And then we had a stack of 100. And then my memory cuts out. Often something that you can't find has made its way in a locker by accidental clicking or by just being mindless. The eggs are no longer eggy. Maybe I tossed the glass down in the solar panel hall when I was doing something related to the solar panel hall. This is only one, huh? Okay. That may be the case. Yeah, probably I did that when I was rambling on about the light. The portable light. I'm about to sneeze. Oh, there they are. No, a stack of one glass sheet? That's not enough glass sheets. You are shitting me. Where did I put the battery now? I know I swapped it with one and I had in hand one with 100%. Now the battery is not in my fucking hand? Why do I always have to have these stupid ridiculous moments? Maybe I'm overstretching myself. Anyway, how full are these? Okay, that must have happened a long time ago that they crapped out. Damn it. Where is all that glass that I printed? And where's that one battery? There it is. How did it end up there? I hope I didn't accidentally throw it into the furnace.
Power low.
Though, if I did, then it's still in the queue, so I can check that out. Ah, maybe I should do that. God damn it. And if I don't find it there, then I will pause the game and pause the recording and use some hacks, you know, look in the save game XML file and try to find where they are located. Because this doesn't fly, man. Funny enough, now I don't have enough space here. Aha. Okay, so there's nothing here. Nope. Okay. See ya. Turns out I done goofed, I guess. I mean, I used 50 glass on the roof there, and it appears that's the only glass I printed, so I was just confused. It appears like there is no glass. I used it all up already. What do I even want with all that glass? I don't know. So is it making these? Okay. Yeah, I looked in the save file and there is there was indeed an item that is item glass sheets or something, and in that XML structure there's also a field that says amount, and I found 3 of these. Guess what? 1, 2, 3, because that is prepared to close the console. Yeah, and I now remember why I was missing these, because here there are still some open walls. Yeah. Yeah, okay, everything has been solved. I just need some more glass. So mankind is trying to find what is... Mankind is trying to calculate pi, basically, you know? If you consider the perfect person, the perfect being, to be a circle, then we can also use that same metaphor for the perfect society. Or something like that. I mean, it's using the same metaphor, but in a different way, of course, because one thing is the person, the other thing is the perfect coexistence. But the idea would be that all these circles can, and that's something that we can do these days already, that we try not to take the entire space that is available to us, as in the canvas on which we collectively live allows you to use your brush here and here and here, but is that the right thing to do then? I mean, maybe your overall shape of the area that is available to you is some kind of diagonal thing here, but what you need is... But if you take the circle shape, then what you actually have is only this space. And this here is potentially a distortion or some space you shouldn't use. Only this is the space you should really have the right to use. And everything within the actual perfect circle shape, as long as it's actually within that hypothetical circle, is yours to use, it's yours, you're free. And no one has any right over that. Nobody. But there's a mutual thing that applies to both sides. To you and to the other. And it has been mankind's goal to calculate this circle, to find what is the perfect circle shape of the individual, of the self, of the consciousness, because that's an abstraction. This is closed, this is not closed. To implement the golden rule, remember? Because that has to be implemented in an abstract way. So is everything closed up? We checked this already. And now let's go around here. Yep, so this room is now really closed. Okay, what is the best way to go about this? Right, I forgot. So this has to be piped up. I could make a curved pipe here and then a passive vent. That would be the exterior vent. And oh, I haven't yet completed this. Oh. Did I not bring the necessary electronic parts with me? I did not. Crap. I suggest I bring a locker too while we're at it, because things are getting chaotic and there's no locker nearby. There's the locker, and there are the electronic parts. The concept of iterative work is important. What does that mean? The concept of
hydration critical.
Wait, the sun goes like this. Therefore, a locker on this wall would not be the wisest choice, and actually the entrance shouldn't be on that side anyway. If I put the locker here, it should basically not be in the way. I have two lockers? Of course I have. Iterative work, meaning that you do a thing and later you refine a thing. This reminds me of yesterday when I was desperately trying to make this microphone sound good, and for a long time it was tricky, and I thought, ah man, okay, then this is it, this is what it is. And then this morning I went at it again, and yesterday also multiple times, and I couldn't manage. And then eventually I did a recording and realized, oh, the mix is actually fine. Yeah. So I have 3 layers of equalizers in there. Could have been just one, and I would have preferred if I could have selected the amount of sliders that it has. That's something I did with Wavelab when I had it, when I had access to it. That I would use an equalizer with only, like, I don't know, 15 sliders or so, and then one with I don't know, 23, and then one with 32 or so frequency bands. So first the simple one. First I would bend the overall shape of the sound, would bend it into shape, so that it sounds overall more pleasant. And then I use the more refined approach, and when that is done, I use the more refined approach. I would have preferred that, but yesterday I had access to an equalizer that, alright, the electronic parts. That only has a certain amount, and that's what I have to live with. What? Oh, right. So the first equalizer bends it into shape, and the second one softens some flaws, and then the last one doesn't change much, but it is still significant to the overall experience. That would be an example of iterative work. And it's also, I mean, it's also a good example because before the sound has not been moved closer to what it's supposed to be, you cannot hear clearly what is still missing in the fine print. You cannot really read the fine print before you have made the paper stop shaking. And this is the same with personal development and mankind's development and the... battery. Yeah, now we might have... No, we don't have fuse blowing. This guy protects. Yeah, well, I still don't have this new power system going and feeding the deep miner facility, and the few wind turbines I have there are not sufficient, and I don't want to add more wind turbines because I don't want to spam shit, you know? I don't want the proper Stationeers experience. So before mankind hasn't yet refined, hasn't yet escaped the age of we are killing each other and raping the women of the neighbor tribe, for this is how we gain power, yes, and resources. Let them do the work and we take it from them, and so forth. We have probably escaped that age a bit, good, but then we are on to more refined stuff. How we express ourselves, what clothes we wear, do we comb our hair, and so forth and so forth. It's not a good example, but it's a working example of a more refined dealing with coexistence. Like with the hairstyle was not good because it was not a good example because it's a fad. You know, tomorrow it might look. I mean, look at the hairstyles of the 80s. If you look at that and we think, God damn it, what was wrong with those people? I wonder what they would think when they see us. Or are we indeed advancing? Is this us having refined the circle more so we can see with more clarity what's good and what isn't? It's pretty much impossible to tell. Oh. Wasn't that clear? I just realized we have 3 airlocks. Or do I have a passive vent in there already? Did I think of it? I think not. Nope. Also, a passive vent is always useful. So, with mankind making its circle more round, mankind has advanced in finding out how and how not to coexist, and it was necessary to go through that process slowly, iteratively, because before the circle hadn't gotten more round, the circle, which is mankind's collective perception basically, was not capable of really seeing itself for how unround it still is. The same goes for fuck me sideways. The same goes for an individual not seeing how imperfect they are before they haven't perfected themselves a bit, and then they have more ahead of themselves when it comes to perfecting themselves. And this also implies, sadly, but that's the way it works, that the more someone gets closer to possibly some kind of immersion step where lots of shortcomings, guilt and all of that, imperfections would be witnessed by the person, that would be a landslide that emotion would have to face, and that's something that people don't understand. What you are ultimately at the core of your being, your soul, so to speak, metaphorically, that is just your emotional machinery. That is not something that emotion is not something that you have. Emotion is something that you are, and when you experience emotion, what happens in that moment is that you are that this emotion that you are, that this circle is singing. It is making a sound. But when it is not making a sound, it's still there. This energy is still there, and also ultimately it is singing. Anyone who has ever downloaded happiness from their future by drug abuse, and then when they arrived in that place, in that future, realized, oops, it's not here. You're right, it's in the past. So now here we have none. Will understand, or should understand. Sadly, many don't. That we are that when you are basically just drifting along. In that moment you are already happy. There's some kind of baseline happiness, so that's the circle that you are is already singing this whole time. It's only very quiet. It is the bass noise that you make, that you experience, or that you are, who knows. I mean, ultimately you are emotion. You might say, no, ultimately I am a piece of flesh, and I have thoughts, and I evolved, and blah blah blah. And what you're saying ultimately sounds a little bit like, well, I'm not reflecting really that this is really what's happening. But if I would be reflecting, I would realize that what you're doing is you're trying to tell us something that would insinuate some kind of spiritual reality or whatever. I'm not doing that. I know that's the direction it goes towards, because I am convinced, oh shit, that this is actually the truth of reality, and therefore ultimately logically woven with everything else. And so if you think deeply enough, you will ultimately have to get there, because it's just no choice, because it's just the truth of things. But that's not what I'm trying to get, where I'm trying to get. But maybe that is a connotation that comes with it, and therefore is a reason why people would say, no, it's just evolved, we're just flesh, and the fact that we can think is only so that we can survive better and so forth. That may or may not be the case. But when we're talking about the you, are we then talking about the flesh? No, you're saying I have hurt myself. Are you then saying I could perceive this data? This is data that could be called pain or whatever. No, you are in pain. You're suffering. You are the core of it. Why ever that is there, we don't have to muse about that at all. That's completely irrelevant now. But I mean, look at it. Mankind's entire pursuit of everything that is happening on this planet, or should at least, serves the goal of minimizing suffering / of maximizing happiness. And what is that? That is caring ultimately about the emotion, as if that were the most important thing. And why is that? Because that's you. Emotion is you. Not saying that when you currently don't have an emotion, you don't exist. No, I said that. That's basically a moment of quiet. 1, 2, something you're desperately waiting for in this video, huh? Fuck you. So that's the logic of it, and that is the power of it. Here be solar panel. And here be 2. Every second solar panel row is in this location and also has its power on this side. So it may be that society, or particularly individuals, can sense when it's time again to face a greater load of self-negation. I mean, I have pursued it's about you, no, come on. I am just a very good example, and I have also extensive data, and also, I mean, who am I supposed to talk about when I'm talking about these deep topics? That's some data that you have to have. Whose data do I have? Only my own, obviously. And I can say that I have pursued this whole identity thing and emotion and so forth very deeply. And so I know from experience that something like identity can be, how should I say, negated? No, that's not the term. I mean, okay, let's say it like this. What is your identity? Is it something genetic? Like, oh, I'm black and so forth? Or is it some kind of you have learned to be in a certain way and therefore you are that way. No, your identity is just... well, yes and no. Your identity is just your current configuration. I mean, I'm talking about this in terms that seem cold and technical, but they're useful. That's why I'm using them. I'm using words for the purpose of expressing information, meanings, and so forth, and also to process them, because they can help think. This is logic cable, this is power cable. Should be like this, right? Meep, blub, meep, blub, meep. Yeah, kinda, except it shouldn't be like this. It should be like this. No? What am I? Okay, I think I'm currently not equipped to do that. So maybe we can just lay the cables first before I make the connectors. That would make sense. So a safe bet is this. But I mean, your identity, that's mostly, I mean, this configuration you might think is, well, this is me, but it is not nailed down. And that is something that mankind is currently experiencing on larger scales. Questions that are being asked that lead some people to shift their identity a lot, maybe because it wasn't nailed down very much. Or, I mean, even if it was nailed down, I hold that very strongly, as in I would go so far as to say I know it, that nobody's identity is absolute. It is always in a slow drift. Maybe it's only in a slow drift around itself, basically, because maybe there's not really a storm that is drifting it anywhere else. For example, I'm currently watching Yellowstone, a gloriously great series, and this big burly cowboy guy with a dark beard, you know whom I speak of, who is together with the, well, no, I don't want to spoil anything there. That guy is like one of the favorite characters of mine in that show. And that guy is so very... that guy totally has an identity down. And that is unlikely to ever shift, but I'm saying ultimately it's all drifting. The outer circumstances change, what's in your head changes, and that's what it is. It is the inner configuration, like your brain, the data that's in there, your convictions, the brain chemistry also. I mean, we know that if people have some accidents that damage the brain, it might well be that their identity completely changes. And also it is the surrounding world. The go-to example that I always use here is that there was a piano in our household, and so I ended up making music. I'm not good at it, but it's just, I'm saying that's something that then happens. And that's an outer identity thing, which ultimately became inner. But this in turn is then carried to the outside by me, when I go and buy some instruments and put them in a room and say, this is my studio, and then I do some stuff with it or whatever, which I did years ago with friends. Okay, this is piped up, that is piped up. What's missing is the logic stuff and the power stuff. I'm sorry. I would like to put it here, but then it's in the wall, it doesn't fly. But if your identity is ultimately... did I place that right? Input, yeah. Ultimately, something that can shift. Well, no, not shift, this is not what I mean. Ultimately, a matter of your brain's configuration and of the world around you's configuration, then we could say, and I believe that is not reductio ad absurdum or something, but actually a meaningful statement, that you are the universe from your perspective. And that's why identities can shift and are also not nailed down, because the entirety of reality is in a flow. Ow, that's so close already. Yeah. Forgot to bring a battery. Could use this one, why not? This is now sucking the battery dry, but okay, who cares? Damn, forgot to bring a disc. And now I almost wanted to say, and I forgot to bring a locker, but funny enough I didn't. Coincidentally. Well, just saved some time. So, need a disk here to configure this. And until then, though, I can begin to empty this space. By closing... well, this will suck all the energy out of this guy. Should I do this now? It needs to happen.
Power low.
This one sucks to the outside, and that one... oh, that's both suck to the outside. Okay. Oh. Yeah, that was a reminder. What is the topic? What's going on? What do I have to do once again? Oh, backup. Yeah, I should do a backup. I already placed the disk here. Let's postpone that by 2 hours, which is midnight. Continue. So I need more lockers. Or rather discs first. And can I print more solar panels? Oh, I'm hungry too.
caution.
Well, if you're just the universe from your perspective, or let's say if your identity is not nailed down, then who should you be? If you're considering that all that mankind is doing the whole time, or should be doing, I mean, it's kind of that, is to pursue happiness. Basically, to find out how love works. How can we
Waste tank caution.
coexist in a way that is just non-negative, that works. Then that may indeed be just the truth of everybody's personal identity. You are whatever love means for your space-time situation / configuration. And if you now look at yourself and think, nah, that's not really me, then look closer. No, that is you. And if you look close enough and realize that's not me, then you may have found a problem that you need to solve. Because that's what you should be.
Tank critical.
How is the pressure in here 105 kilopascals? I mean, in the previous episode I realized we only have 80 kilopascals. Did I not consider the temperature? Was that when I had accidentally cooled down the station to like 0-ish degrees again? Because yeah, that happened again. It was too hot, so I turned this thing on, blah 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 blah. Oh, I forgot. You know, the classic. Haha, no one saw that. I will cut this out, I'll cut this out. You might think that this concept seems a bit off-putting. that basically our identity should just be a situational thing where we are drifting along in some kind of weird orchestra where no one is really anyone, and the only goal is happy, tender greetings and all that shit. But that's just a bizarre extrapolation of the concept I presented. The truth of it is what's already happening. It has been happening for millennia, except it wasn't pure. But that is what has been happening. We are on that path, and there's nothing that can stop it, short of extinction. This one is blocked, and that's the external one. Okay, I picked the right one. Alright, so now we have this power generator thing. But it needs to pipe its power over there to power the batteries over there, which don't yet exist. And I would say the best place to start making that happen is here. Seems like the most intuitive, logical place. Yep, I can do more here, but not current. Oh, right, I still have a solar panel to distribute. He who shall not be named, or these shall be named, but this one shall not be named. 1 1 1 2 2 1 1 2 2. And there will be solar panels here. No, that was exactly wrong. I mean, the first part was good, but then they had to keep speaking. Space music. Okay, that's fine. For the new age. Fuck off. Yep, looking good. This can grow over time. So, how far are these equipped? This one has glass. They all seem to have glass. How are they cabled up then? The orientation of all of them is the same, so the television is over there, it appears. They are cabled up, and this one too. And that is connected to the main logic, yes. The power is also connected. So in an ideal-ish scenario, how many solar panels do we have running then? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that would be 2 kilowatts coming in. And that's kind of what we have coming in over there when the wind is high. So that should be enough for the thing. Well, let's connect the let's see if the airlock works, huh? There's no light here yet. Later. First I want everything to be powered, and then we can talk about, well, wasting. This is the outer one. And that will be the inner one. Do I have pipes? I do. I do. So ultimately we have a solar panel hall now. I should have called these not 1 and 2, but maybe S and T, because then that would be penalty. Oh man, I forgot to get the cable here. Okay, now we have some batteries here. What's happening? Hello? Ooh, spooky. Right, I need to add this here. And that is the same kind of logic we have to apply here too. Aha, that is already there, and that is also already there. How very delightful. So I brought these for no reason. Noted. Next time I will... Already cable up? I don't think so. Power will come from this side. Maybe like this again. Except I want to express where it's coming from. So that's where bottom is, and I forgot to bring a battery.
Power critical.
Shut up. Okay, doors for this side. We need a battery, we need to cable everything up. I don't have any cables right now. Yeah, for building an electricity room, it's pretty sad not to have any cables. Need cables, need another locker, need batteries. So, I mean, on the one hand, it's good for people to have some kind of cemented or strong, basically unbending identity, so that when they enter a scenario where it would be required for them to change their identity or to at least adapt their behavior, they don't. That can be a good thing. And then, of course, everybody's like, oh, this person's abrasive, this person's an asshole, and so forth. Because that's what happens. That's what happens. Please try to realize that whenever people are like this negative, when they're saying this person is hateful, and so forth, in many, many cases, or rather, whenever there is some collision of energy, like when your emotion is being touched by the other in the way that you find unpleasant, then it is super likely, and by group, when it comes to groups, it's probably all the time, that they react by pointing at that other person, saying that person is de facto objectively evil. Just look at the person doing those things. When no one knows the objective right and wrong. Right? So acting as if we do, but didn't I just contradict that by saying that something like an objective or something like a nailed down unbending identity can be a good thing? Yeah. And isn't that the implicit assumption to know right and wrong? Because otherwise you would just accept to be wrong, I mean as an evil, and you would just insist, this is me, fuck it. Oh, look at that. When the truth would probably rather be that you are convinced that your way is the right way, and so if all of reality contradicts it, then it's just like in Nazi Germany, for example, where many people would have said, this is not right, but the entire reality around you is telling you that it's right. Who are you to call it into question and so forth? And that's the fundamental, that's one fundamental thing that we are experiencing these days. I mean, the understanding that this is actually a mechanism that is relevant. What am I saying? The mechanism of insisting that you know right and wrong, despite the entire world screaming in both your ears that this is not the way. And this is happening on multiple fronts. There are 2 fronts or 3 fronts opposing. Sorry. And both fronts are experiencing that on both sides. They're being screamed at, this is wrong what you're doing, and they're insisting that position is right. And of course at least one of them is wrong because they're incompatible. Yeah, that's what it means. Ultimately, compatibility is the goal. So if one of them is incompatible with the other, then at least one of them must be wrong. Logical. Well, can they both be right? No, then they would be compatible. Alright, so now we have some batteries. They are charging-ish. Now let's remove the ish from the sentence. That is filled, okay. What? I mean, I'm so forgetful. My head is too small for all the things I wanted to shove through it. Cables, yeah, of course. But certainly using your muscles beyond your capability of actually lifting a weight helps with strengthening those muscles, right? Push the limits. So here's a door that I can place here once I'm on the other side and everything has been cabled up and is ready. I need a bunch of cables now. Also a bunch of heavy cables, so possibly more than I have available right now. Oh. Yeah. Still possibly more. 2 cables here, okay. Yeah, could do with a new filter. So, I mean, abstraction. I am very certain that people, individuals and groups, and also companies, those definitely because money is involved, are using the concept of abstraction more intently and more directly, actually just more these days than they did, like, for example, 20 years ago. We could say that people have become more intelligent, but what does intelligence really mean? I mean, what am I saying if I'm saying that someone is more intelligent than they were? Because that implies something good, like more intelligent. That's good, right? Yeah, and that connotation is not necessarily the right one in this discussion. Four solar panels, dude. Blow my socks off. Dude, what's happening? Didn't tell you to stop. Since we now have some time waiting for those cables, maybe we should finally implement here this cooling solution, which is already completely developed hardware-wise, but is not yet ready for programming. So, pipe analyzer, cooling, anal, cooling, pump, pump. This one we need to control to find out what's going on in the pipe. This one we need to control to define what we want to do, like pump in this or that direction. And in a way, I would also need this here, a cable analyzer on this side. But I will not. I will instead. Well, I can't measure what's on this side without another cable analyzer, but not only do I not have space for that, I find that overkill. I find that to be overkill. Since the developers introduced the mood thing and the food quality thing, I think that came at the same time, I'm not sure, I have not used my little self-made XML mod. It's really completely easy to do such a thing. That reduces the amount of food and drink that I have to take. I haven't used it since, so that's a long time suffering this, because I've never gotten to the point in my playthroughs where I would have high quality food, so I could estimate whether this fast decay that is so annoying and to have to eat and drink so often is basically my own fault, because I haven't yet ascended high enough in my station building and food quality achieving to decide whether this is just too much that they are throwing at us, too annoying, or whether it's just alright. So how do I deal with this? The problem is I have to pump over to that place.
I am a microphone. You can hear me right now.
Oh man, that might have been scratching my beard this whole time. My quasi-beard. That's enough to start building some. Solar panels. What is it that was missing over here? Oh, my power is gone. I am powerless. Is piped up. It needs the batteries installed, so we have power. I need steel sheets for that. The door can be installed from the inside. That is alright. Power needs to come in. Yeah. And then we can actually break through this wall. That would be cool. It would be easier to get there to the place where we have to build. So that should be a priority. Let's first put up the solar panels. Next step. Oh, forgot the steel. Crap! I have to go back. Without steel sheets I cannot install any batteries. Damn. Ultimately, the question when it comes to right and wrong is still why? Why bother? I mean, do you only have this and this much time on this planet? And maybe it's even fun to wet other people's beds, so to speak, every once in a while, even though that's wrong, of course. Why? And that's the thing, there's ultimately not some kind of police that makes sure that it doesn't happen. That's why we have spam mail. That's how that works. And I would like all spammers in the world to die, literally. I wish death upon all of them, no exceptions. And I mean, of course, the real spammers. I mean, there are gray zones where you're not so entirely certain, was this spam or not? I'm talking about the definite spammers. They know, then you know who, well, they're not listening to this. And there might be people who disagree with this take. I'm not saying go out and kill them. That is not what I said. This is in line with what I said earlier with lose your hands, motherfucker. That is just a wish that I carry within me and that is coming outside right now just in the form of words. Not in the form of do something! No, don't. But would you not agree that it is deserved? Communication is so very important. We are neurons, everybody, in a brain, in the collective brain of society. And of local and global society. Oh. And this brain, to function, needs to be able to exchange information. That is also why free speech is of such major importance. Because if the brain cannot exchange information freely, then it cannot think. Now you might say, well, some things are known, and so why should there not be a law prohibiting certain speech? Because that front no longer has to be explored? Well, first of all, what if the take is wrong? And second of all, the prohibition of speech has led to so much bullshit in the world history. How are we still doing that? What the fuck, man? But I mean, the ones doing this are usually the ones in power, be it the state, or be it groups, so maybe some company you happen to work for. The ones in power. The ones in power are always the one who want to dictate the speech. This is not necessarily evil, not necessarily wrong, but it is too easily wrong and evil to risk. Damn, I forgot the batteries. I should have a transformer with 5 kilowatts that goes to this airlock and to this airlock and to this also, or should no? This one can keep hanging from this battery. I think that should be harmless. Actually, I wonder, this chip that I have running over there that controls these solar panels, should it not rather be in here? Basically self-powering indirectly by this battery? That would be more wise, huh? Why do I even have the battery in there? Well, because I subconsciously assumed I would do it like this, I guess. Well, so logic center my ass. I guess this thing needs to be self-sustaining. I guess I would carry over the chip just into this room here. Oh no, not this stupid shit again. I will once again click here to say I don't want to listen to this song. Motherfucker, it's bad. Also, it's not a song, but whatever. Batteries. I need to set up at least one of these guys. Where though? Well, I get their power from here. And here I would then have... When I come in right away, it seems a bit wild. But that would work. And here I can now stack them, if I could at least. Is it charging? No, of course, there's no power coming in. Okay. Then we can... Oh, no, we need the transformer. Where will that transformer be? Or is this the wrong place for the battery? That is the wrong place for the battery. Yeah, there's no police, really. So we are basically one collective brain processing information, and so information exchange is important. And now some parasite has infested the brain and is sitting on the neural pathways and is trying to abuse those to leech off the brain, to take energy from the brain, and thereby also, I mean, it's not a symbiosis, it is indeed a parasite. And those people are the spammers. They are parasitic. damaging us. Well, and so much suffering and death in the world is actually caused by mankind not yet having cleaned up its slate, basically. That we could say that these spammers are actually causing death by preventing the finding of truth. Now, I know this is a very roundabout way to do it, certainly too roundabout to, for example, legislate, you know. We cannot say, okay, this is the case, therefore we will now kill that person, for the person has caused death somewhere else. Why would that not be just? That doesn't fly, I know. But I'm, again, not talking as in you should do something. No, I'm not doing that at all. I'm just talking concepts. So we need the batteries, and a transformer. Batteries and a transformer. Nothing going on here? Okay. Batteries are still full enough, so that's not the problem. A transformer. Indeed, only 5 kilowatts. And well, of course, people like Keir Starmer and so forth are the enemies of mankind, but I mean, that is so very obvious that it doesn't need to be discussed for a minute. Everybody knows that. That guy's just completely off his fucking rockers. Too bad I can't stuff this in here. Crap, this guy is in the way. I can put it somewhere else, no problem, but that sucks. Because I need to pipe the cable through there. The cable coming from here. Well, just a few more seconds and then the battery room will begin to be a battery room. Oh, this is wasteful. Huh, maybe I need to logic control the batteries. Oh, that seems ideal. Ah, come on. Well, the free flow of information, it must not be stopped. But the powerful, they want to stop the free flow of information because they are insane. They want power. They don't know why, but they know one thing. If they stop trying to get more power, they will lose their power. Because power is being grown everywhere. And so if they don't fight for their growing their power, then they will ultimately lose it. So, but why do they even want the power? Maybe there was some idealism at first, but now it's just, you know, and well, it's insane to want to have power anyway. Why? Because the only way to properly coexist is to make way. Because you don't know whether you not making way is not possibly a violation of the will of the other, because you cannot know it with objectivity. You can only guess. Oh, that's still fine, I guess. That's gonna be the weirdest airlock I've ever made. Alright. Let's make a weird airlock then.
Power low.
Well, first of all, we need a... Oh, shit. Of course. What am I doing? We need to be transformer first. Crap! Did it wrong again. Where's that thing? Here.
Hydration critical.
Yeah, ultimately, I mean, we don't know yet what the optimal flow is. Mankind has been searching for that for such a long time, and what does that mean? It means that assuming that you don't know yet is the best thing you can know. We are still searching. We have been doing for such a long time. Why do people always assume that the age in which they live is the age of enlightenment? Yes, compared to the rest, but do we not later always look down on them and think, God damn it, what the fuck was with those people? We will have people in the future who will look down on us like that, and they will be right. So why do we not learn from that? Hey, wait, that's the wrong cable. That needs to be a heavy one. Because we are also very drunken with power and enjoyment, and look, 5,000 channels on the television and so forth. Like, we don't care. Again, the question, why should we care? Where's the police forcing us? Oh, there's no police. You just have this you just will like to 70, 80, 90 years old, and then you die most probably of cancer, because it's ultimately mostly indeed cancer that kills old people, is what I heard. I mean, you know, like the tissue is just beginning to do stupid shit, you know? But okay, maybe that information is false. I don't want to spread stupid shit. I was convinced that the source was good, but let's forget it. Anyway, they do die, and we might say, well, that's necessary. How can they not die? Okay, I'm not going to start with my theism here, but we'll just mention for a short moment that if mankind would have found sanity, it would also have found immortality. Yes. Because death is actually optional. And so we drift along, only pushed by the immediate reality of, I'm a baby now, everything is cold, or I cannot walk, how can I survive and so forth. Ultimately then growing up, or pushed by nature, but also pushed by the people around us, like, get a job, or I kick you out of the house if you don't, and so forth and so forth. But at some point that pressure stops, and then we just sit at home and Netflix, or whatever, and well, the push is over, and so we have to wait yet another generation for the savior, who chooses just not to be there even though he could, or she. Because is it not just a choice? Maybe the Matrix was here to tell us something. Not just a film that was so unfathomably good that we think, well, that's just what happens. Sometimes people are very good when they make films. but maybe it was... everything came together. Just like things can do the opposite. Things can do the opposite of coming together. Ah shit, that was the wrong way. And you know that. When it comes to filmmaking, for example, there can be a curse, so to speak, that just everything goes wrong. Does that mean anything? Oh, who knows? And the opposite. Does it mean anything when everything goes right? Where's that battery? I know I brought two. Where is it? Oh, there it is. And that's why I meant that the airlock here is the weirdest I've ever made. Because this is how I have to cable this now. Sorry. I don't know what this new microphone picks up, you know. It's still new to me, you know. And I think it's much more sensitive than the previous one. It's also sensitive. It blushes whenever I speak, but fuck it. Okay, here the power comes in, once there's power, and here it spreads to the airlock, and now we have to add the actual airlock circuitry. Oh, did I not drop a glass sheet here? I mean, I have glass, that's not the problem. Weird. Weird. I mean, say what you will about that stupid cow Rachel Zegler, I think this weird moment was extremely well delivered. Not saying that what she says is right, okay, obviously not. I will not have space here for a locker. Crap. That looks like a guy almost. Shoulders, head, and whatever this is. And I guess he's a tennis player. Yep. That's what happened. Yeah, it's not yet time to invoke the airlock because it will just run itself dry. Because the night is still too long. So I could stack another battery on this one with some trick if I can place the frame there, which might be impossible because of the fucked up door. And then where do I place the next batteries? I don't know. Here maybe. One cable salad? But of course so.
Hunger caution. Health low. Power critical.
Okay, so much for now. Almost 300 grams of iron, and this one has been emptied, so here we have 300 grams of iron here, and here we have one. Okay, nice. Don't mind if I do. 500 grams of iron. Well, without the helmet, it really feels like a bit like home. I mean, how the sound changes. No longer and also the flashlight no longer needed. It's really good to have these lights around. Yep. Some people just carry the portable light the whole time because it saves them work or whatever. But I'm strongly against that. I mean, they can do that, of course, whatever, but it takes away the necessity for light. And in reality you have that. Arguably the lighting in Stationeers is too far from realistic because of these stupid shadows. But, well, that's another story. What is the next step? I need more of these cables. I need to get another large battery. Let's make 2 while I'm at it. Cannot have too many of these, huh? Gold and copper. Fuck. And what about gold? Oh, gold I have. So once the sun comes up, the batteries will charge, and then the battery room will finally begin to work. Of course, I still have to work on the atmosphere in there. Then there needs to be some kind of temperature control. Or should I just use vacuum? Vacuum is not good for batteries at discharge. Actually, what the fuck, man? What am I saying? In a room, a vacuum will actually discharge the battery more than a room temperature atmosphere. So that's probably how they made the sound in the Joker video, huh? When he recorded. Little break. And we're back. Yeah, I had to do some things. For example, the headphone is... I mean, the speaker... No, the microphone, yeah, now we have all the media. My TV, the doorbell, also my bicycle that is in the basement, and so forth. So, the microphone is attached to my head, basically, by something that I clamped between my head and the headphones that I'm wearing. And the thing that I clamped between that is some remains of an umbrella, you know that they have these spikes, and for whatever reason I kept one of those around because I thought, well, this is a special shape. A shape like this and a material like this is normally not something they have lying around here. It might actually become useful because it is pretty unique. So if ever the pattern emerges and I need such a thing, I will actually be it will be troublesome to find such a thing. And then it turned out, whoop, that was exactly what in the end happened yesterday. I need a little bit of iron, yep. But these spikes or whatever that are in the in an umbrella, they are U-shaped along their axis, you know. So there's one side of this entire long thing that is sharp, and so that it no longer basically cuts me. I just put some bandages around that so I can wear it more comfortably. Yep. Makeshift is indeed the fucking term here, man. One, two, three, bop, 1, 2, 3, bop, plop. Why am I not transporting these over? Weird. Weird, weird. Oh, that doesn't work? Oh. I was using the key that drags all of them, but doesn't work for this, apparently. Where were we? I do not really actually remember. I think we have the battery now. Need more cables to make that hell of a lot. To make that happen, I do have cables. Yeah, but do I have enough? I don't think so.
Tank critical.
Really?
More cables.
So, what is it I forgot this time? Power comes in here, goes into that battery, goes also into that battery. This battery's output connects to this battery's output, both of which then go into this 5 kilowatt thing, which is for this airlock, but I will connect that also to the deep mining facility, and then it will finally be detached from the main station, which will therefore no longer have power trouble. But that is a while off, and now I realize what it is that I forgot. Frames. But you know what? Let's just abuse this one. Oh, right. I should have brought another battery. Hey Google, turn off the fan. As a reminder what I set out to do, there's supposed to be another battery here. They can only be placed on frames and, well, also inside frames. There's a new thing which we have been having for 4 months now or so. It's no longer new. I forgot the battery for this one. So let's print another. I wonder, should I power this logic thing over there for the solar panels with power from the solar panels? I mean, the power is right here. This is the cable that goes also... well, oh, actually, what am I saying? No, it doesn't go to the solar panels. But actually, I could remove... Man, I have to make up my mind. That's just an option thing. It's just a decision that I have to make. So this one, no, this one? The blue one is for the solar panels. Yeah, it looks like solar panels also. I mean, the association is there. That was the reason why you chose blue. That cable could go here to the left. To that cable, it also goes into the airlock. And that cable would then be this 5 kilowatt circuit, which also goes into this airlock and then effectively also into that airlock. So everything would be run from the power room here, and there would not be a battery over there. Which is a bit fucky yucky, because now I have the battery there, which has power. And the power, I cannot get that out. If I cannot get that into this one. Actually, I can. And I will. Huh. Doesn't really matter what cable type I use if I limit this indeed to 5000 watts. Which is ridiculous, but I don't have a bigger transformer with me right now, shit. So what am I supposed to do? Yeah, it's a cool thing to transport that information, that power over there. Okay, now we need to cut that off. Nothing's going into this battery. What's coming out of this battery is now going into the transformer. And then the cable exploded. And now I realize what the reason is. Transformer is set to a too high level. Because it consumes itself also 10 watts. So I should have used a heavy cable here. Is there another cable that could have been killed by this? Well, we are going from here to there, and we're going from here to the airlock, and that is all. So currently the battery should be... yeah, it is. It is transferring its power over to the other battery. And once that is completed, I will completely move that battery over there. Now the next thing is indeed to make sure that this airlock gets its power from the other side. Should color code these cables at some point. But currently I don't yet have a good idea, so I don't. Well, I wanted to stop anyway. Our batteries are getting some power. And this one? Yeah, 5000 watts is a lot, even for such a big beast, so eventually it's gonna be empty. And then we can recable this stuff here. Oh, at least, well, somewhat. Can actually already recable the airlock. I mean, that's not recabling then. Recabling is not even the thing. It is now. Yeah, now it's being discharged. Oh, look at that. The morning is already gruesomely dawning. Das Morgengrauen? So that thing gets its power from over here, and that thing gets its power from, you know, this one straight cable goes here, and that comes from that battery. It comes from that general power room there. And it's not yet blinking, and I'm annoyed, and yeah. Next time I will vote differently. How can we proceed here? One cable now needs to go over to this system over there. The power cable. This is the logic cable, and so all of that stays here. Right, this thing should be powered by the battery room here, which is weird, but that's the way I want it. So all the logic is in that room, but not necessarily the power for it. By the way, now that there's power in that room, I think I could actually start using this airlock between that room and this one.
Storm incoming.
Oh, okay.
Storm incoming.
750 seconds.
Incoming.
Well, that doesn't look nice. I want this rounded.
Storm incoming. Storm incoming. Storm incoming. Storm incoming. Storm incoming.
Station 0 control import.
Storm
Edit.
incoming.
Of course, now that I have the battery room wired up and soon no longer a power problem, the storm is coming, which will completely blow the mind of these, very empty batteries.
Storm incoming. Storm incoming.
Anyway, so edit.
Incoming. Storm.
Where is that storm stuff? Storm here.
Storm.
The weather stuff.
Storm incoming.
Where's the weather counter being written?
Storm incoming. Storm incoming. Storm incoming. Storm incoming.
Display mode default, and here I'm writing R1 to that value. Is R1 used in any other way? I'm pretty sure no. Okay, so we can round this then. Round R1, R1.
Storm incoming. Storm incoming. Storm
Yep.
incoming.
Not so hectic, easily
Storm
readable, more
incoming.
easily readable, more than 10 minutes.
Storm incoming. 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 Storm.
How long still?
Storm incoming.
10 minutes. Oh, I should have printed some more cables. Still not empty, that fucking battery? God damn it, man. How long can that possibly take? Is something wrong? It seems like a cable must have just exploded somewhere. Why does it take so long? With 5,000 watts flow. Oh. It's not actually flowing. Are you shitting me? Dude, what's happening? I mean, this thing would be lit, it would be green, when there's power that's actually used. 4,900 watts, power goes in, can't explain that. Still not. Goes in there, goes in that direction. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Goes here, goes here, goes here. And goes to the fucking battery. I mean... Dude, what's happening? Why is the battery not being charged?
Hydration critical.
I think I just heard a beep. That means it's being charged. It's really flowing that slowly. But why is the light off then? I think something's fucked up here, man. Something is just not right here. Maybe I made a mistake, but we know that the power systems are somewhat buggy. For example, it's possible to duplicate power by using two transformers in parallel, I heard. Why the fuck is there no power flowing here? I don't get it, man. Doesn't
Power low.
make any sense. Well, then let's tickle the dragon's tail. See what happens. Use a heavy cable and connect this directly without transformer. Actually, nothing's happening. Why? Am I witnessing a bug, or is there something wrong with my cabling? Well, I don't know when that happened. Maybe that's actually the reason. Maybe we had this broken cable this whole time, and because there's a vacuum here, just didn't notice. But okay, let's just go all in and probably destroy a cable also. But this would give us the entire charge of the entire battery instantly, and of course that would be a power systems bug, because if the cable burns out because there's too much load on it, when I set the transformer to 4,900, aha, so now the entire power has been transferred in one moment. But this also killed the cable. And it killed the cable right here, so I was lucky. Okay, situation is what? This is the logic. It controls the thingies. We have the battery here that I have to dismantle, and the battery no longer needs power, no longer needs a logic connection. Ah, shit. This one is being discharged. Why? Because I haven't yet placed the transformer where it belongs. Nothing's being powered right now by this room. But we have some charge. Transformer reversed small. All right. So how long still until... oh shit. Any moment now the storm starts. Oh. Okay, we have 4 batteries now in the battery room, which would all be powered if there would be some power coming in. Their power flows through this 5 kilowatt thingy into this airlock, into the chip that runs the solar power thing. It runs into this airlock and it runs into this. So in other words, we have 1000, 2000, 3000 watts charge load plus the about 1000 watts of the deep miner facility, 4000 watts. But that's kind of it then. There's nothing more coming. That will be loading, will be the load on that. Okay. Close the door. And maybe we can also reconfigure this so that it's a functional airlock. Is everything piped up? Yep. Oh, something's missing. Gas sensor, glass door. Why? What's going on? Oh, I haven't yet cabled up the. Oh well, I don't have time for this now. Not before the storm begins. Case in point. Oh. There's no more power. The station has run out of power. So I don't know when the storm begins. Hilarious. And once it begins, I will have power. You bet your ass I will. Can only be a few seconds. That's a weird situation to be in. Oh, the power has been out for a while. I mean, the weather station is not wrong. Just because it's run out of power doesn't mean the weather system is no longer weathering. Any second now. And then I will have all the power in the world. So let's wait for the storm. Oh, right. Maybe I should drink something? Ah. And there was light. $16,000 watts. Every wind turbine delivers 1,000 watts exactly now. And I don't like that is exactly. Why isn't it a bit more dynamic? But okay, that's what it is now. And the batteries, they are charging. Nice sound. And I haven't yet seen the storms really, like they are now, you know? There is now some kind of billboard, some kind of projection going on so that we can see the storm through the walls, through the windows, instead of it kind of blowing into the station half a meter or something. This is a new thing. This is the storm update. Let's go outside and take a look. More power. Shouldn't go out there with emergency equipment.
Oxygen low.
Aha, so there's some transition thing here, we can see that. Cool. Can still fly around, even though it's just a basic jetpack. So, generating 0 watts. I don't know if the sun would be visible right now, no idea. Wow. Without light? That's what it looks like. Intense.
Hunger caution.
Man, these batteries are pretty empty. Have they not heard the blessings of the wind turbine? No, they have not. They're all solar powered. Okay, where are we here? I think everything here is cabled up, so let's see if we can activate this airlock now. No, we cannot. Gas sensors, the only thing that's okay. I still have some way to go here. Okay. Don't have enough cables on me. Need more cables. Hey, storms look pretty good now. Wow, they look very good now. We just look at this. Aha. Oh. Cables. It would be nice if the power of the storm versus or the power of my what's the word? Oh, come on, I can't put anything anywhere. Shit. Would be nice if that power were not just. I mean, okay, it is like this. Oh, the storm's over. Hello, hilarious. So the storm is a certain strength. Once I know the strength, I know what could possibly happen to me if I fly around with a jetpack in the storm. And then I will just act accordingly, because it's all digital, it's all reliable. Now I know the rules of the game. In reality, no one would do this, because nature doesn't play by rules like that. There would always be the danger that you actually are blown away, because you cannot anticipate with certainty in beforehand what will happen. So such dynamicity should also be here. Because then it feels more dangerous, more immersive. Instead of just, okay, yeah, this is the storm circuit thing happening in this storm circuity thing, and now I've learned what it does, and I will adapt, and I will just act accordingly, because I can rely on it following this rule with 100% certainty. That's not realistic. I want it to be realistic. Okay, now we can start up 2 airlocks at once. Actually, this one first, because the other one is special. The exterior door, it has been selected. Now the interior also. Powered vent. Which one is now locked? This one is currently locked. Is that the external one? That is the external one. Okay. Then we are done. Now we can define the atmosphere in here. If we ever get to that such a point. Next step here would be first to check if I could configure this now as an airlock. Not everything is connected. Why? Because we don't yet have the second door. Powered vent large exterior is probably indeed this one. Anyway, this one goes with a pipe here, and that is interior then.
Hunger critical.
Interesting. Should I have piped that over to that room instead? Because how is this interior now? Oh man! Oh motherfucker! Oh man! Oh, bitter, 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 bitter. I would have so fallen for that. So what did I do wrong? What I did wrong is that one of them pumps into this room, the other one pumps into that room. Even though they connect even though the airlock doesn't connect this room with the exterior, but it connects this room with that. So here is where that active vent needs to blow. Yep, and I don't think I have enough cables to make that happen now. Nope, definitely not. Ah, here's the sun. One, two, three, four. If I want it in the middle of the wall. And I need a few cable analyzers. Now the batteries are being charged, hopefully.
Hunger caution.
Insulated pipes? No? Okay. And we are consuming lots of watts. Okay, cable analyzer here. We know what's coming in from the outdoors. 1000-ish watts. What we're consuming in here is 2000 watts. So that's way more actually. No wonder these guys are being discharged. Other cable situations here? Yeah, here the airlocks. Who gives a fuck? What I could do, though, from here I could analyze this circuit, but I mean that's impure. That it's right over there, that room, where that would then reasonably actually take place. Crap, I forgot to place the the passive vent indoors. But not a problem, I have to break open the wall anyway. And I'm coming from this side. So, how much power is coming in? I would really like to know that. And how much power is going out? We can make both of that visible with some cheap tricks. I mean, I could just flap it on this one and call it a day, but let's be slightly more elegant. So what's coming in? 2400 watt-ish. And so they're being charged. And how much power is being consumed? $100 watts. Closing door. Okay, what's missing here? I have to decide what inside and outside means. I would say this station has priority, so that is inside, that is outside. Okay, let's see. Powered vent large exterior. The one that goes to the exterior, and that is this one. So I've selected the wrong one.
Power low.
That one is locked now and goes here. That is external, so that is right. Then we have the composite door exterior, that is this one. And now we have to make the interior one. So we have 34 degrees in here, but it should cool down a bit now. Another airlock technically completed. Getting somewhere. Let's count the solar panels. I'm not sure what they were and if the power calculation is correct. I mean, have I cabled everything up is the question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, oh, okay, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 times 200 watts is 2,800 watts. But I believe they're not actually all producing at 100%. Huh? $200. Actually, all of them are producing at 200 watts. 99% efficiency, man. I have the solar programming correct. That is so weird that this actually worked out correctly. So what power is coming in? The power that is coming in is 2,400-ish watts. 200 times 14, right? Would be 2,800. I guess some of them are not fully producing, but I guess that's not what I came for. Let's check all of them again. Guessing is not the game. So here we have 200 watts coming in, and they're going into the cable. 220 actually. How many did I count? 220 times 14 is 3,080 watts. So how many was it again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 indeed. So there should be 3,000 watts coming in, if all of them are producing, and if I cabled them up correctly, which I realize I did not. This cable is not yet even connected to the rest of them. So there's the problem. Let's fix that ASAP. Yeah, it's midnight, and I'm just being reminded that I wanted to make data backup. Okay, now we should have a bit above 3,000 watts coming in. Or maybe exactly 3,000. Let's see. $3,000. Alright. Now it's time to hand power over to this station and let the deep miner facility run from here. Including that central switch I have there. So, okay, the power... damn. Okay, that reminder will keep coming. Let's just shift it to 1 AM. How can I reasonably pipe that power over there? I think I have found a better way. Oh no, I cannot connect that to this cable. This is an internal power cable here. Crap, I wanted to... Damn, I don't want to disassemble the nice airlock again. Anyway, okay, let's just do that then what I wanted to do anyway, which is this. 5 kilowatt fuse. And 1 area power controller, because it's neat to be able to just turn everything off in a central place. All right. Finally. Now the deep miner facility is running off of solar power, which is stored here, and there will be more batteries later, and there will be more solar panels later, and there will be more transformers later, because this will be distributing power into all kinds of directions. Yeah, and so there needs to be some power consumption control. We need to make sure that we can see how much power is coming in versus how much power is going out, average over time, stuff like that. And yeah, that's what it is. Let's enjoy this for a few more moments, and then let's shut this down for the day. How many airlocks do I have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 airlocks, out of which with large powered vents. No storm currently. And the switch, it has been reset automatically. So I'm not deaf next time the storm warning would come. This can be neatified a bit. Let's do that then. Yeah, now the cable no longer goes through this lid, because this stays open, because this is the master switch for this entire section. And now slowly these guys should actually fill up until they're almost entirely blue. Nice. Now that's a good start, because that's all it is, reasonably. 20 hours for a good start. Well, that's Stationeers. Wait, this is pumping in the right direction? Temperature 31 degrees. Atmos analyzer? Well, it's certainly not pumping here. And when I click this on, we should have much higher pressure. We do. Okay. Alright. So much for now. See you again next time.